clearly didn't really change your style of play in the long term. There's still that sort of reckless abandon and throwing yourself into challenges. Were you always that player when you were growing up in Derry, when you think back to being 13, 14?
Yeah,
was that a key part of what made you such a talented footballer?
Yeah, obviously I love it, and that's the way I am. And I remember being at Everton, and David Moyes used to always say to me, just get better at what you're good at, and obviously try and improve your weaknesses. But I always felt like I was good at defending and throwing myself body in the line and heading the ball both boxes, and I sort of just worked on that. And
were you always taller than everybody else?
yeah, I was quite lanky but very skinny, and I was obviously doing a lot of gym work back then to build, and obviously I filled into my body good now where I feel comfortable, and that's it. Yeah. So
was it foil harps you started out with?
Yeah,
when you were 13, 14, were you a foot above
Yeah,
everyone
I was
else?
always the tall one. Just hang it up for Shane. It was one of them. So
like playing for Ireland now.
Yeah, not wrong. But yeah, as I said, I'm proud of what kind of player I'm. Maybe not the best in the IE, but I'm very happy the way my career's going. So
were you not when you were a big 14-year-old, and is your dad's from Letterkenny? Is
Yeah,
he from
Letterkenny,
Donegal? Was there not
Letterkenny.
a stick him in midfield for the local GAA team?
Nah, stick me up front maybe and just head it like I used to love playing guard, to be honest, and I played for Derry Kill, and then I started going on trials all around England, and so it's like we had games on a Saturday, but I was going like after school on a Friday to the weekend, so I used to miss the games. And that was
Where did you go on trials?
Oh, everywhere.
Everywhere and anywhere.
I remember my first one was Southampton, and then Bolton, Arsenal, Everton, Celtic. There was so many, and then I just kept going back and forth. And then I was planning to go. So when I went to Arsenal, I went there for a week, and then I got to train up to Everton, and then for a week. But then I was supposed to go to United the week after. But I loved Everton that much.
Why?
I just felt it was right for me at the time, and the right manager, youth manager. Obviously, I had David Moyes as well there, who was at the game for Northern Ireland when I was playing England, and he was there watching. So it's a start, and sometimes you get a feeling when you go into clubs, and it's quite hard being a trialist where you've got sort of no one. And then they just took me in, and I just said to my dad, I want to sign here, and that was it, and it was done in a matter of a week. So, and then the rest of the trials were just out the window.
And how'd your dad feel, and your mum feel, I guess, as well, saying, I'm moving to Liverpool?
Yeah, it was
16.
It was alright. It was emotional. Obviously, they were crying and stuff like that, but it was alright. It was Liverpool. Liverpool was a nice city, and I was quite lucky. I moved into a house with 10 other lads from the youth team. So I was 16. We lived with my old lads, having a bit of crack and stuff like that. So you're not sitting in your room alone, where some people are now, and it's quite tough where you're living with some family. So it was alright. I got lucky. I feel like I'm very lucky. Everything sort of happened for a reason, and I picked the right club to go to at the time, and it can go either way. And I've seen so many players come back and maybe pick the wrong club, and I just feel quite very lucky.
David Moyes saw you in the Victory Shield playing for Northern Ireland against England. How did the switch come about? I know you've said you were always going to play for the Republic of Ireland at senior level, like so many. I guess you have to play for Northern Ireland at underage because you're picked up during the school system.
Yeah, that was sort of it. Obviously, because my mum was in Derry, so she put me in a Northern Irish school. So you go through the school, sort of county schools, and that's how you sort of get picked for Northern Ireland. And so I had to go. I was only a kid, and you couldn't go to Ireland schools like down south. So I was from under 15, 16, 17 then. I always knew when I signed my professional contract, and to be fair, Northern Ireland did know as well. So, but as soon as I signed 17, I was changing over. So it was always a matter of time. But
you were on the bench for a senior game, were you?
Yeah, obviously
against Italy, a friendly, which wouldn't have been binding even if you had played.
No.
What would have happened if they turned the head and said, "Go on for the last 20 minutes"?
Yeah, I know, and I that's what I mean. I was probably that naive in that I probably would have, and so it was, as I said, I feel very lucky that every decision at the minute I've been making, it's been the right one. So yeah, I think my dad was more happy I didn't come on. So so yeah, but
sitting in the stand, ready to jump out. Don't do it.
Yeah, but at the time, like you don't think about it, like, because I was just turned 17, so I was like, obviously they were trying to get me. They sort of knew that it was happening, so they were trying to tie me down, sort of, and that didn't happen. So, and then after that trip, I never went back.
Do you have a bit of sympathy then for Declan Rice's situation?
Yeah, it's tough. Like
they're obviously very different in some ways, but
yeah, I feel
young guys.
Yeah, very different, obviously, but young, and like I get on with Declan very well, and it's quite tough to read some of the stuff about him because I know he's such a good guy and stuff like that. But as I said, he's went with his gut and he's went with his feelings. The only thing he sort of shouldn't have done was probably play the games if he knew he was going to change. So and he knows I spoke to him, so it was his own decision. He went with his own feeling, and in years to come, if he would have regretted it if he didn't. He wanted to do it. So
you didn't get the sense there was anything anyone could say to.
No, I honestly believe he did love playing for Ireland, and he really felt the love of the fans and of the players and the staff. It was just honestly his own gut feeling that he felt like he's English, and that's what he is. So I wish him all success, really. I do, and I get on with him very well, but I just wish he was in our team, really. So it's a hard one to take. Obviously, a player like him in our squad, we'd be a better team, and it helps us.
You mentioned Seamus Coleman earlier as you're recovering from injury. You've had quite a journey together. Obviously, you went your separate ways where he stayed at Everton and you moved on, but with the Irish team, I know he's a little bit older, but like what you both achieved. I don't know if you sit down at any stage and look back to where you were as young lads at Everton 10 years ago.
He reminds me all the time about me, so he was always destined. You could know straight away when he came in. He was just this.
Why?
So he was different than everyone we had, and his attitude and his mentality was so strong at a young age, and he just knew nothing was getting in his way. And sort of when you seen him early on, nothing was getting in his way. He was running through people, and he's such a good person to have around you as well. So I've been with him the whole way through, sort of, since he moved to England, and I always need, if I'm struggling, I would always pick up the phone to him, and he just says the right things. That's why he's probably a brilliant captain for us now at the minute, and I think it's more about his mentality and his attitude towards football, and it's great for me to bounce off, and I've always bounced off it with him, and if I do ever get out of line somewhere, he would just slap me across the face or something like that. But he's been huge.
Does he ever get out of line?
Never, ever.
He's the golden child.
He is, but he deserves it. He works hard, and I feel very lucky. I feel I'm saying that a lot, but to have him alongside, if you see footballers going a different direction and you're thinking what you're doing, but with him he always keeps you in the right way, in the right path, and that's such a great quality to have as a person, even never mind a footballer. It's
sort of strange looking at your Ireland career. I think probably because of the injury, it feels like you've been around for the 9-10 years, but it was another 4 years before your major debut against Costa Rica, and then you kind of disappear again for another couple of years until that game against Italy in Lille, which was your first competitive start.
Yeah, well, it was a Switzerland game at home, really. Just before, obviously we just qualified for the Euros, and then it was 2 friendly games, Switzerland and Holland. And I actually done all right in them, so and Martin just said to me, "You've just come back, you're a completely different player than when I had you at Costa Rica, and I like you and the way you've improved." And ever since there, I've tried not to look back, and yeah. But there was doubts, obviously, after Costa Rica. I thought it was too big a gap, and I was floating about some club, like obviously Blackburn, and I was thinking, well, I'm never going to be able to get back there now. And
what do you think the gap was at that stage?
I don't know, probably where I was still quite raw, and I don't know. I just probably weren't good enough at the time. We had good centre halves, and I was just not. Martin had his players that he liked, and that was it. So I did have doubts. I thought that one cap wonder here, so I was just like, oh. So when the second cap happened, I can call me two cap wonder now. So I was like, yeah, but it was a relief, and I thought it was just. I did improve over the 2 years, well, probably 4 years was it, and I was in and out. I was travelling with the squad for the Euros and the qualifier Bosnias and that, but I weren't making the bench, so it was always being around it. But yeah, I had doubts, definitely.
Worth the wait though when you make your first competitive start, and it's one of the greatest nights in the history of Irish football.
That's Martin P. Just throw it in there, go on, and get us through.
Was this one of those which we've heard a lot of over the last while? An hour beforehand he names the team, and you're suddenly in. Honestly,
I went to the Euros just to go and enjoy it. I'm probably not going to play a minute here, but just to take it all in. And so obviously the first game went really well, and should have won it really. But the second game against Belgium, we had about a nightmare really. So but never in my head that I thought, oh, I'm going to be playing here. So I thought, if he's going to make a change, it's going to be one of them. And I'm obviously fourth choice here. So
it was John O'Shea and Kieran Clark were in, and Richard Keogh was obviously there as well.
And he obviously played a huge part in the qualification as well. So I was thinking, and then.
So are your family in Lille that night? If they're not expecting, are you?
They
not
went the whole thing anyway. They're just Ireland fans anyway. Right. So if I weren't there, we probably would have went anyway. So
is it on the bus on the way you find that, or is it in the dressing room?
We in the dressing room, literally. So
have you ever had that with any other manager?
No. And obviously it was probably the best thing ever could happen, man, to be honest, because I didn't have time to think.
Did you have time to WhatsApp your dad and say?
No, he didn't know until the team sheet was out.
He's there singing along to the anthem, looking down at the pitch.
No, obviously he got the team news, and then my mum was like, he's playing. And so we got to the stadium, so obviously we go out to the pitch first and have a look. So we still don't know the team around then. Come back in, and he gets everyone together and just names it, and then I was like, did he say me? And everyone was coming up to me, and I was like, come on. I was like, all right. So then it was like an hour, so we were out in like 40 minutes for a warm-up. I was like, oh. And that was it, and then it was one of the best nights of my life, really. So
it obviously worked that night, and
yeah,
I think people listen to it still though and think particularly in modern day football, where you're so well drilled in, you look at the training facilities you have here at Brighton, and nothing is left to chance. There's no second guessing at all. That a manager would still name a team an hour beforehand. Like, how do you, as a defensive partnership, if you haven't had 3 or 4 days to think about this, how do you know who's going to pick up who?
Yeah, it's obviously players aren't stupid as well. Like, obviously the manager likes certain players. Probably in the Ireland team for the Euros, you probably knew eight or nine probably starters. It was just some, but so they sort of knew their roles through the qualification. But we worked on it. But so like we were doing it. If we worked on set pieces, everyone would do it, so everyone would be ready. And I think that was just Martin's way of keeping everyone ready. Because obviously some players maybe get the huff or not happy about playing, so they sort of switch off. And if they do come on, they switched off. And that was his way of keeping everyone on their toes. And so if we were doing set pieces, everyone would know the right drill and right way to go. And if you didn't, you probably wouldn't play again. So so you had to be switched on, and it was sort of good as well. But it was sort of like you wanted to know. So, but
have you ever had a night like that since?
No, not that good anyway. It was incredible. It was like, obviously it was just a pure blur for me, because I didn't think I was even going to be playing, never mind being a part of it. And then the celebrations after, and the bus back to Paris, and that was amazing. So I've had some good nights with Ireland since as well, but I don't think many will top that until the next Euros.
Yeah, at the Aviva, something similar.
Yeah, that'll be special.
You mentioned earlier about the Costa Rica game and wondering, maybe were you good enough and where you needed to get to, and then 4 days later you take on France, and obviously everybody's a little bit wrecked at this stage, and there were lots of things that went against Ireland despite getting the early goal through Robbie Brady. How much of that day was a learning curve? Like, had you ever come up against that calibre of player, so many of them on the pitch at the same time?
No, but I actually thought the first half, I played better in the first half against France than I did the whole Italy game. So I was thinking, I'm playing well here. I've played better here than I did against Italy. So came in at half time, 1-0 up, playing quite well, and then it was just 20 minutes of just complete like madness. It was frustrating purely because I was comfortable enough like out there, and it was just that calibre of player where my inexperience showed of not playing. I thought it was, well, I can play in this like sorta, and then I was trying to go for every single ball, and obviously the first goal, the second where I got sent off maybe, when I think me and Richie sorta went for the same ball, and then instead of just where now I would never do that, I would sort of just stay in cover and I wouldn't have got caught out. So
that's what those great players wait for.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Split second.
And then even the cross for Griezmann header where I should have been tighter, and so it was just little things really. But I was obviously, that was from the best night to my worst night of my Ireland career. So it was a big, but I was still proud of myself obviously for even just getting to the Euros with 2 games under my belt or 3 games, and then playing a big part in the history of the Italy game, and then obviously the night after the France game I was down a lot obviously, but then when I got home I was like, oh, you can be proud of yourself, but just kick on now and try and get everyone to get that out of their heads and try and put good performances in, and hopefully I've done some.
Yeah, well, I think clearly you kicked on from there. Certainly under Martin O'Neill, you were very much, I think, probably almost first name on the team sheet, it felt like, for the couple of years afterwards. He always seemed like he was a bit harsher on the Derry lads.
Oh, he wasn't harsh with James anyway, I tell you that. But
he was harsh with him publicly.
Yeah, they were like son and father then too. So yeah, I don't
just
know. I think that's the way his managing skills were. I think he was great, like behind the closed doors. He honestly was. He would come down and sit with you, have a cup of tea, and just ask you, like, and obviously because he was from Derry as well, sort of. So he would get on with us and he would ask whereabouts and stuff. Like he went to school in Derry, and he's quite funny as well. So it was all right. And
tell you about his successful minor career with Derry.
He's the smartest. No, actually, he never told us that, but I know he was smart anyway. So
he told you that.
Yeah, he told us that anyway. So he went to a smart college in Derry. So yeah.
How difficult was it then, as it all started breaking down, from your goal in the second leg against Denmark, which is this euphoric moment, to Denmark turning it around, getting the victory, and for everything that probably happened in the year afterwards, from then to him leaving, it never felt like it recovered, and there was obviously the issues with Harry Arter and John Walters, and there was just constantly a story around the team. As someone who'd very quickly become one of the more senior players, like,
it was tough.
What was that year like for you?
Yeah, it was tough. Obviously, the Denmark game was up there with France probably, where you felt like you could, what a chance at home to Denmark to get their World Cup, and we were all so confident of going to Aviva and get the stadium rocking, and we did. We got off to a great start, and then obviously it just went. I don't know what happened actually, but it wasn't a pleasant night after anyway. But and ever since that, probably everyone was probably just a bit down in that. Obviously it was Nation League game. We were all trying to build ourselves back up, and there was a lot of changes happening, sort of, and everyone was just down. But obviously you can't be down because you're playing for Ireland, and you've got to go out there, and we were trying. It just obviously weren't working at the time, and maybe a little bit on edge where you didn't want to lose in all game. We were just sitting back, and then it ended up being worse. And then it weren't for the lack of effort of the lads trying, but it was just, and I said that it sort of turned a bit stale in the camp, where it was just like, that's little things, and as you said before, like, and I was sad to leave. I was sad to see him leave. I thought he's done unbelievable things for Ireland, and he got us to the last 16 of the Euros and one game off from a World Cup. But as I said, football's a tough sport sometimes, and I said now, and it was probably probably the toughest year I've had with Ireland, and everyone was still the same, happy, chirpy, like good atmosphere, like with the lads, and that was just when we went on the pitch.
Was it just actually match day almost?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it was just one of them things. It was just didn't go to plan, but went for the lack of trying.
How'd you get on with Roy during it all?
Yeah, Roy was great for me. I thought Roy. What I loved about Roy would just tell you the truth, and where you would get some players would probably not, some coaches would probably just avoid you and stuff, but he would tell you. And
can you have too much truth?
I think you've just got to have the character. You've got to say it to certain players. Some players you wouldn't, just don't say it to them, but sometimes you've got to be a man as well and take it in the chin. And if you can't take it off him, try and take it. I tried to take it as confidence of, right, well, he's telling me to do it. If I'm doing that, I can be a better player. And he was always great with me, and I never had no bad things to say about Roy, so I can always say good things with me. And he wasn't always this big bad boy either in the camp. He was quite funny and stuff as well. So, and it was great sitting down sometimes with him, and he would tell you some stories about his career. And at the end of the day, it's Roy Keane, so everyone was just like that. Like, so yeah, but as I said, I got on quite well with him.
It feels as though the buzz is back now, that Mick McCarthy is that sort of character, I think, that instantly, and all his former players would say it, that he walks into the dressing room, he's got something that he's got a real likability factor for players, for supporters, and everybody feels good about where Irish football is on the pitch. Certainly, maybe there's a lot going on, obviously, off the pitch with the FAI right now.
I don't know.
As a centre, well, you can tell us in detail what you think about ongoings behind the scenes.
I don't even have a clue. I don't have a clue what's going on.
As a centre back working with Mick McCarthy, like, does he spend a lot of time with you?
It's still quite new, honestly, but it's been great. Like, everyone's just come in. As I said, any new manager will come in, everyone wants to come in and impress first, and obviously we've got the results on the pitch, and I think we're playing a lot better football than we were. We're trying to get it down and play and get more attacking, and obviously we haven't scored the goals yet that we've wanted to, but I think the intent's there, and Mick's great. Mick come around, give you a big hug and get you there, and he'll get you smiling, like, and that's what sort of the players needed after a tough year, and everyone's just bubbly, everyone's excited to come back, meeting up again.
Yeah.
And
he probably sees quite a bit of him in you.
Yeah, Mick was obviously a top centre half, so if I have anywhere close to him, I'd be delighted. Like, but he's so simple with me. Just says, do what you're good at. Don't try and be this fancy player or something.
He did make that comment about.
Yeah, I know, and it's great because as I said, I'll never get ahead of myself. I know what I am, and I'm proud to be what I am. And
what are you? Because
I'm someone who wants to keep it out of the net. That's what I am. So whatever it takes. People say you can be this and this, but at the end of the day, I'm a centre half who likes to keep the ball out the net. But I can get it down and play, and that's what we're doing at Brighton now, and I feel very comfortable doing it. So if I can do both and get the right balance there, hopefully I can kick on again and be better than what I am. So
because I guess people maybe look at two types of defenders now in the modern game, and you're on the one side, this teak tough, no nonsense, as you say, above all else, prevent the other team from scoring. And like, you would have played with John Stones, would you? At Everton at underage, who's probably seen as very much
of course,
the opposite, who's often, it feels as though his first priority is to start the attack, and defending can sometimes be seen as secondary, playing at a team where maybe you can get away with that. Like, does it in any ways annoy you that you're seen on that side?
No, not at all. I love it. As I said, I'm proud to be I'm proud to be who I am. And if you look at John Stones, he's still a very good defender as well. Like, he can defend as well. But obviously, the manager he's got, he wants to play total football. So
you don't worry that that sort of reputation could hamper your ambitions?
Well, at the end of the day, that's what I am. I can't change just for someone else. Like, I've got to be who I am, and if I try and be someone else, I end up forgetting what I'm good at, and then I can't keep it out, then I'm costing goals and stuff like that. Listen, at the end of the day, it is what I am. I am what I am, and I'm just still obviously trying to improve on the other side as well, and I want to get that in me, but I want to keep the what I am in my game as well. So
you get a good buzz off it, I'd say. I think back to the night in Copenhagen a couple of months ago against Denmark, where not only do you get the goal, but like the previous 80 minutes where they're coming at you, and
don't get me wrong.
Done in Moscow.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I would love for us to be attacking all the time and I'd have a quiet night, but sometimes you've got to roll your sleeves up and it's going to be a tough night away at home to some big countries and you've got to thrive off them and them nights I do obviously thrive off it and hopefully add a few more goals to my game for Ireland. I feel like I should have a lot more than what I do actually. So
3 goals so far. It's funny, I spoke to you after the Gibraltar game and the only other player I've spoken to who looked so pissed off at not scoring a goal, I think, was maybe Robbie Keane after games, who no matter what happened, if he didn't get his goal, had that brilliant striker's instinct of he wanted one desperately. Was it like 30 corners and you got your head in about one of them?
I was so frustrated after that game. I could have had a hat-trick, honestly, and that's what I mean. I feel like I should have a lot more goals to my career, and obviously for Ireland, I've probably got 25, 30 caps and 3 goals. I feel like I should have close to double figures, like without chances of getting games, but hopefully it can come. And I'm positive. So
well, you're obviously getting better at it as well, considering a couple of those goals have come in the last 18 months or so.
Yeah, so
and also what you've done with Brighton, was it 5 Premier League goals
last
season?
5. Yeah, so I have to try and better that this year as well. So.
Do you get the sense that opposition teams are very wary of you now? Like any sort of surprise factor? Maybe you never have a surprise factor when you're 6'4".
Yeah, no, I always get the biggest ones marking me, so I'm used to that anyway. But
who do you really not like to see marking you?
Don't mind. I fancy myself against anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.